G'day, welcome back for another video. I'm checking out all the Glenelg Football League grounds today. It's such a nice day here, start of October. Why not go out and check a few grounds I've already been to, but hopefully I can give you a bit of a tour. So where was the Glenelg Football League? It was one of the 3 leagues that currently makes up the Southwest Football League in Southwest Victoria. So that was originally called the Portland Port Fairy League. Those 2 leagues merged, but also the Glenelg teams joined. Sadly, this one didn't. Dergholm played in the Glenelg Football League until it finished in 1969. They were not one of the clubs that continued on to the Southwest District League, or Portland Port Fairy as it was known at the time. And this was used for cricket until maybe about 10 years ago. You get a lot of tourists nowadays with people going to the pub here. The Dergholm Hotel is known as the pub in the scrub, and there was literally like 20 people there. There was a bus there, so a lot of people travel out to Dergholm just to go to the pub. So it's a little bit unique like that Dergholm. It wasn't even that long ago they played cricket, but there is a cricket pitch here. Dergholm were the Tigers, and they did have David Robbie who played for them, and he went on to play for Melbourne. More known for playing for Casterton, because we're not too far away from Casterton, but he did play here as a young fella. Here's a cricket pitch. Getting a bit overgrown now. Last time I was here wasn't really too bad, but no one has slashed the oval for a little while now. There's not a whole lot to Dergholm, and I guess when the leagues merged, they would have been a bit out of the way compared to the other clubs, so it might have been harder to retain players, potentially. Also, I think they did have 2 years off just before the league merged anyway, so they weren't really travelling fantastically. I should mention there was a junior football club out of Dergholm, Dunroban Dergholm, and they played all the way up until the late 80s. I'm not going to cover it in this video, maybe I should in another video. It's crazy this sign still remains. With a club this old, often a whole lot doesn't remain still, but you got the 2 change rooms here. And obviously it was still used for cricket, so that's probably why it was looked after in the back of the change rooms here. Heap of chairs of all colours. It is not locked. Christmas decorations. Oh wow, Dergholm Social Club. That is cool. That's retro. Hotel, Cattle, Sheep, Memorial Hall. That is next. I'll show you the hole. This next to the ground here. Schweppes. What's here? Dergholm Social Club. It's like storage or cricket pads. That's cool. Stump. Tennis court right next to the oval. And it sort of looks like someone's actually done this up. That's cool. There's a few tennis balls lying around and some rackets. Oh, there are some stumps here too. I reckon they might have done this up since I last come here. Yeah, since I filmed a video here, they actually have done this up. They put markings on the tennis court again. And yeah, I guess some people come out here and have a hit. So that's one positive thing going on here. There's the oval there, and the Dergholm Soldiers Memorial Hall is just next to it. Pub down there. I would film it, but there's literally heaps of people. But past those tractors, there is the pub. There's so many people there. Like a lot of people come out here on like day trips and that to go to the pub. And this is cool as we actually see the Dergholm Footy Club in the hole there. So it's one of the photos of the Tigers. We're not that far away from Penola, 39 k's. There's the pub, very famous around here. And the fire risk, you only have these in Victoria. Now this here looks like the old school which closed down in 1979. I'm not going to go in here because I don't know who owns it, but yeah, that definitely looks like a school building there. And then you got like a flagpole, which is a dead ringer sign, but yeah, pretty nicely looked after. So I would say someone owns this, and yeah, pretty cool to see though. Before 1960, Dergholm played in the Glenelg and District Football League, and then that merged with the Central Glenelg League. So Central Glenelg was more Harrow, Balmoral area, and the Glenelg League was more around Casterton. So when they merged, they became the Glenelg Football League, and they lasted until 1969. So it wasn't really that long that the Glenelg Football League lasted. All right, driven towards Casterton to Wando Vale. So it's only about 15 minutes out of Casterton here, and the bloke here is mowing it at the moment, but Wando Vale had a cricket club until recently in the Glenelg Football League. They played until the final year, so 1969, just like Dergholm. And I believe the thirds of Casterton maybe play cricket here now. Very small ground. Quite a hill on this side as well, which is interesting, but you can see the cricket pitch out there, so it's quite recent. But really cool setting here with the hills in the background. Yeah, really be a nice spot to play cricket for sure, but for football, it's a very small oval. I can't even believe they really played football here, to be honest. I can't really picture it. The Wando Vale Cricket Club was listed in 1920. The football club actually played in green with a white V. Up the back there is a court, I guess the netball court, and they have a massive memorial hole here where they have like this active farmers campaign. I think it's called Fat Farmers in South Australia, but maybe Victoria's a bit woke, and they call it Active Farmers. Group fitness, Tuesday 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. So that's cool. All the farmers get out here and God knows what they do in the hole, but jump up and down and all about. What also is cool about Wando Vale is there's no town really. It's just a farming area. The Wando Creek is not too far away, so I guess that's why it's Wando Vale. Yeah, there's no town here, nothing, but there is a school, and it didn't really close like that long ago. I believe it was 2000 that it finished, so there could be like maybe the youngest student was probably about 30 now that could have gone to this school. Another court there for the school, and then here's the building. I believe it's been sold in recent times. It doesn't even really look like a school much, but it's got the flagpole there like Dergholm. And yeah, 1906 to 2000 this primary school was used. Makes sense because we're not heaps far away from Casterton. It's just down that road over a few hills. So I'm surprised it really lasted that long.
Old mate goes around all
yeah, that's it. Well, here we go. We got all the Wando Vale history here. Blue and white for the premiers in 37, but then we go to the green and white, and this is what we're talking about here today. The Glenelg Football League, although it's got Glenelg District there, by 63 it would have been the Glenelg Football League. So Wando Vale won 63, 59. Right, and what else we got here? Post office. Man, there's everything here. Tennis, a lot of tennis stuff, even going up until 2000s, 2001 tennis. That is quite cool. Then we got cricket. Wonder if anyone's watching the video from that team. They had a juniors team. Like, how are they finding juniors? Those blokes would be probably about my age. And then, wow, 2010 they were still playing tennis. Geez, so they had a nice community out here in Wando Vale. Oh, well, look at this. Mrs. Mary Munro cut the ribbon. So I'm not sure if she's related to me. I know there's a few Munros around the place, but I don't really know if they're related. Original settler Thomas Munro. We might have some relatives out here. Then we got CDCA, Casterton District Cricket Association trophies, badminton, the netball was called basketball, so GDBBA, Glenelg District Basketball Association, I don't know, but they're in the green and white as well, the netballs, there we go. So they kept the netball going after the footy finished. I guess they weren't necessarily tied together. 63 they won here, 64, so they had a pretty good time in the 60s because they won the 63 footy flag, and then the netballers were going well. Strong community. CFA, bit of CFA stuff here. Oh, here's the jumper, look at this, beauty. Number 6 worn by Vic Humphreys and latter by his son Peter. So that's a classic, that one. Some members tickets up there, made by Mascot, Champs by Mascot. And that is a proper old school woolen jumper there. Some of the teams, so 63 team that won the flag, there they are. Oh, that's a junior team. It's a junior team, but maybe that's a junior flag up there. I don't know. There's a Munro there as well. Until you can see when they finish, 1969, so they don't continue as a club after that point. And then here's like one of the real old school photos with the white and it looks like a red sash. Just any sash will do. Another one, 63. I'll say were premiers in the juniors and in the seniors. And there's this photo of the whole team. In the green and white, 37. So that's the blue and white one up there. I guess they're in blue and white at this stage. What league was that? Wando Vale Estate. So I guess that's how it started, as Wando Vale Estate, and then farmers would have bought out different allotments. Now here we got cricket stuff on here as well. In the blue and white. All in the blue and white. Life members. Mrs. C. Munro. Mr. N. Munro. Bro, I think I found my Daniel and Eliza Munro up here. I think I found my long lost family. No, but I didn't know that there were Munros around here. Eileen and Lila Munro, they're in the ladies committee of the hall. It's very, very lucky that he was here mowing today, so I could have a look at all this stuff. I didn't expect this. They have a lot of primary school stuff, so all the classes from over the years. Let's see if we can find one of the last photos. There's 96. Some of the 90s. Maybe they don't have 2000. 90, 98, 97 there, so maybe a few faces people recognise. They're in the green and white as well. I wonder if that's just the colours of Wando Vale, but... That was unreal. Brian led us into the hall there at Wando Vale. So much history there for a very small place. On the way to Casterton now, and this place is really underrated. I love the hills around here. It's a great time to check out the country here during spring. And there is Casterton down there, but you would have thought you're in Buddy Island or somewhere like that, with all these hills around here. It's quite a scenic place. You don't really hear it like promoted and that, like around this sort of the Western District, I guess you'd call it. But yeah, really quite a stunning place at times. But we'll go down to Casterton and see what we can find down there. So here's Casterton's history. Population of 2,000 people. Located on the banks of Glenelg River, so hence the Glenelg Football League. So if you're wondering why the league's called the Glenelg Football League, it's got nothing to do with Adelaide in Glenelg. It's all the Glenelg River down this way. Here is Casterton with a flood, and there's the footy oval right there. That is crazy, that. So that must have been the Glenelg River overflowing at that stage. Casterton has a sign up on the hill like Hollywood, which I always think is funny, but anyway, here's the old railway station. Now, if you want to know properly about railway and all that type of thing, there's no shortage of YouTubers who make videos about railway, but I won't pretend to know much, but it's all grassed over here now, pretty long gone. Given that Casterton has a population of 2,000 people, they still have a footy club now, but we'll go and have a look at that in a minute. But I would say my estimation is that you need about 1,000 people to have a football club, whether that's in the actual town or it's in like a nearby town. And if you average it out, there's 1,000 people per club. So 2,000 people, more than enough to have a footy club. Casterton prides itself on being the birthplace of the Kelpie, the Australian working dog. And also the main street is called Henty Street. So Henties were the very first European settlers, I believe, in Victoria. Henty is a bit further down south. So, but yeah, the Henty family were like some of the early settlers in the area, I guess. Here is Henty Street. They got a big thing here for all the Kelpies in the information centre. I find Casterton to be like a really old school, sort of, not old school like as in bad, but like just like sort of like an old fashioned sort of towns. Like pretty nice really. Alright, here's the footy ground, Island Park, where the Casterton Sandford Cats play. Now, they didn't even play in the Glenelg Football League, so why are we here? Well, it's still pretty relevant because they were the major team of the area, so some of the better players would have gone to Casterton from the Glenelg Football League clubs. But also, they merged with one of the teams, Sandford. They are in the Glenelg Football League. We will go out to Sandford. When the Glenelg Football League was played, Casterton were in the Western District in the start, and then 1964 it became the Western Border Football League, and that's where they've remained for many years. It's now called the Limestone Coast Football Netball League, so whether it's the same league or it's just a change of name, I don't know. But I did come here for the 150th celebration of football in Casterton. Casterton did merge with Sandford, so it's not really like... It's technically a different club, but it's not really a different club at the same time. Here is the players' gym, and they had a lot of the history of Casterton. Also Sandford, so Sandford in the Glenelg Football League. So that was relevant to this video, and that's sort of what inspired me to get out here today. Casterton merged with Sandford in 2014, and they remained the Cats. They did put a bit of a... they have a different logo, so... They have a little bit of red in their logo now, but they're still the Cats, so it's not a major change. But yeah, nice ground here with the hill in the background. I wish you could see more of it whenever I come here. I wish you could see a bit more of that hill rather than the trees. But yeah, really nice setting. A bit of a grandstand setup as well, which is cool. I really like this ground. That logo I was talking about, so you got the C for Casterton, but then the S for Sandford in the red there. So it is Casterton Sandford, but a lot of people would probably just call it Casterton. I also have a second oval here. Why is it relevant? Well, I believe this was a tip at one stage, and then it became Bahgallah or Bahgallah. I'll have to find out how to say it. It was their ground for their final few years. We will go out there and discover where their original ground was, but apparently they played here for a little bit. It's currently used for cricket, major side play here, and then I think it was the thirds play out at Wando Vale where we were before. And they also use it for junior footy, so I saw it's probably like, I don't know what it was, like under 12s or something like that, play on this ground. It's a good size for that sort of level of footy. So apparently this was a Glenelg Football League ground in the latter years. This is at the back of the grandstand. For some reason, it looks like it's the 2016 Western Bulldogs squad photo is on here. Very weird. I think that's Rourke Smith there, so Matthew Boyd, Bob Murphy. Yeah, I don't know why that's here. Alright, so we're taking the trip about 10 minutes out of town to Bahgallah, and I've never done a video here because the ground doesn't really exist anymore. The Memorial Hall certainly does. Existed in 1922. This one looks fairly used. Couple social events, so they even have like, I think they might even have Anzac Day stuff here. There's a memorial thing here. Don't know if we can quite get a look in the hole, but yeah, it is quite looked after. Oh, look at this, emus. So there's a big blue gum plantation here where the emus must be hiding. A lot of wildlife love these foresty areas, and that's why the footy ground is no longer around, because of the blue gums. It was planted over. It's down this way. Let's see if we can find where it was. So last time I came here, I thought the ground was where that dip is, down the road there. And then I was given a great message by, or a comment by Peter Annette, and his sister Kay took a photo of the ground in December 2004 before the blue gums were planted, and apparently the gateway to the ground was directly opposite cattle yards on the other side of the road. So cattle yards over here, I don't know. And then it was at the top of a dip, so yeah, so it was up the hill here where the ground flattens out a bit, because it is a lot really up and down around here. So this might have been the entrance here, maybe, to the footy ground. If there was a cattle yards here somewhere, maybe this was the entrance, because this looks older than the fence on the other side of the road. So possibly the Bahgallah footy ground was in here, and yeah, been planted with gum trees, or blue gums, 20 years ago. So when they're going to get rid of these, I don't know. They haven't got much meat on them, so I don't know how useful they are, these blue gums. Anyway, the ground was here at some point, I'm going to guess, because this looks fairly old here. We've even got the cover on it. You don't see that very much. If I'm going to guess, it would have been in there. As far as I know, there's no known photos of the actual ground. There was a photo taken prior to the blue gums being planted, but I'm not sure what colours they wore, so I'll chuck it in if I have a photo. There probably was a photo in the hole, but yeah, there's no one around to let me into that one, unfortunately. Just like a few other clubs, Bahgallah folded when the Glenelg Football League finished. They didn't continue on. Obviously, they went into Casterton, into town, and played there for their final few years, I've heard from a few sources. So when they finished playing footy, cricket, whatever around here, I've got no idea. Unlike a lot of towns in this video, Sandford is still an actual town, I would say. There's a few houses here, pretty sort of relaxing spot, I'd say. But recreation reserve is down here over the river, so just past the old hotel, which hasn't probably been used, I don't know, probably for like 10 years or longer. And the footy ground is down here, so let's go have a look. Once you cross over the Wando River, it's not the Glenelg River, you come to the Sandford footy ground where the villagers played. Now, this is very much still an oval because they only finished in 2013. Sandford did go on to the Southwest District League, or the Portland Port Fairy as it was known in the early days. And considering it's a small town, they were known as the Villagers, wearing red and white. So one set of goalposts still remain here, and the other set, I don't know where they are. They've gone missing down the far end, but yeah, still very much a good ground. I've been here numerous times and it's one of my favourites. So I'm loving showing you here today. Just like when I went to Casterton, you know how I said like the trees are in the background blocking the view? Well, this one is uninhibited by trees, and you got there's a new house over there. It's an older one there, but there's not too much going on because we are like the town is over the other side of the river, so it's kind of weird that they put the oval here, but I'm guessing it was just like a flat open area they could put the ground. The goalposts, all like rusty, even though it was just 2013 that they finished. In those days, the Southwest District was only seniors and it was only senior football. There's no junior, it was just seniors and reserves. It was only in recent years that the Southwest District has had reserves. So if you want to see the video on the grand final, check that out because it was a good one. But yeah, the Southwest District has improved from when Sandford finished up. Little mural on the side is cool with the red V there. Sponsor is Whitcomb Electrical Contractors. So not a bad club room set up in there. When I went to the Casterton Sandford 150 year day, they did have a bit of Sandford stuff in there because they merged. So when they merged in 2014, it meant everyone in Casterton wasn't split between the two clubs. Of course, Sandford wasn't as big of a club, but it meant this ground was no longer used. I don't know what they could have, maybe they could have done some trainings out here, I don't know, but the ground is sort of just like being wasted, I suppose. But then again, like everyone that played for Sandford would have lived in Casterton, most likely, unless you like live out on a farm this way. This is the older netball court. He's got the grass everywhere. That light has fallen over and shattered. But then we have a newer netball court over here. And I believe the netball may have had juniors, unlike the footy, in the later days. Maybe Sandford did have juniors at one stage, but definitely not when they are finished up. So this court here was upgraded in 2011, just a couple of years before they finished. which is kind of sad in a way, isn't it? Also for tennis, but when tennis finished, I don't know. I guess they were still playing tennis when they finished up. There's all the netball stuff in there. Sandford and visitors, scoreboard. A few cracks here appearing. Unfortunately, it's only going to get worse, but yeah, it's not really that bad. Nice little playground there as well. You got the cattle in the background. Pretty funny, there's like cattle yards right next to the footy club. Very rarely see that. I think this is probably the only place I've seen cattle yards right next to a netball or tennis court. But yeah, super peaceful place. Like every time I've come here to kick the footy a few times, and you know, it's not a pristine surface, but it still gets looked after enough. And yeah, very peaceful. Unfortunately, in Sandford's time in the Southwest District League, so 1970 to 2013, they didn't win a senior premiership. So I guess they were also always one of the more struggling clubs, being the secondary side of Casterton. I guess they didn't get the first choice of the best players from the region. Prices for food and drink here, because they have a country music festival at the ground. So that's what it's primarily used for, I believe, that festival. Change room, Sandford and visitors. I think there is still a bit of stuff in there to see from the villages in the red and white. Light boards and whatnot, which is pretty good. And we got the scoreboard. Now this is gone away now. There are like numbers scattered around. Let's see if we can find one. I guess there was a ladder here at some point too, but maybe there aren't any numbers around here anymore. Definitely was before. Once aboard, straight from the 2000s, Food Works, which they still have here. I think it's Food Works. They don't have like Woolies or anything. This is a pretty local one. Fencing contractor, Richardson's Butchery. Matthew Richardson's old man is from Casterton, so maybe a relative, which is pretty cool that these are still remaining. Sometimes they get chucked out at old grounds. And we got the benches and a like an umpire spot as well, I guess it was. They're still here. Work safe, like you'd find at every Victorian ground. There's always a work safe sign, because work safe are like a sponsor. And then we go, here's the Sandford Bush Festival, which is the Labor Day weekend. So that's what this is still used for. If you want to come see the ground in its prime, maybe go to the Sandford Bush Festival. Pretty short light posts. You can see one over there as well. So I can't imagine the training would have been too flashy, but gets the job done. I don't really know what this building is used for. Maybe it's just the Bush Festival stuff, like storage or something. But yeah, check out that view. So cool, isn't it? I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think this is a pretty special ground to go to. It's like one of the early grounds I did a video on. The goalposts were around here somewhere, no idea where they are now. But not a very big oval as well, that's the other thing. So I wish I got to see a game here if I was doing this sort of stuff back in the day. But finally at the John Whitcomb Memorial Gates, you got the entry here. And this is my favourite part. I don't know if anyone else finds this interesting, but in the rubbish here, there are like, oh my god, there's like pamphlets or sheets of the record of like all the players from like 2013. So these are still remaining. You got reserves and seniors. That's it. Sandford seniors. That was the last team. There are, I guess they were pretty light on for players probably at this stage, but netball on the back as well. So yeah, it's pretty special that this is still here, I reckon. Alright, because this was a bit of a last minute trip, you can see the sun is setting now. I didn't really time this very well. It took me 45 minutes to go from Sandford to Cavendish. I'm not going to show you much of Cavendish as in the town, but here is the footy club. And if you've watched the video on the Southwest Grand Final, you know that Cavendish won the Southwest League this year. So they were successful in the Glenelg League as well. They won the last ever Glenelg Premiership in 1969. So they're a pretty good club. And surprisingly, they actually have women's footy as well. So really cool that. It's quite a nice ground, very short goalposts. A bit old school that, but nevertheless, it's well looked after. They're the Bloods and wear red and white. There is a premiership from the Women's Football League. It's in reverse here, but Southwest Women's League. They've got like a girl from around here. I think it's Layla Pole, I think her name is. Anyway, she's meant to be a very good junior player, maybe future AFLW player. I think she even won the under-14s league medal, like in the boys, last year. So you got to be pretty good to do that. Nice little setup here with the fire and a few little seats. But I've won 5 premierships in the Southwest District League. Of course, this year they are the 5th one. Really cool setting here as well, with like trees in the background, and the town is actually like on the other side. It's not really in the actual town of Cavendish, but there's a pub and that's about it. There's not too much really. Seeing the club rooms here, that Southwest District flag, honour boards. I'm not sure if there'd be any Glenelg football stuff in there. I'm not sure if it's old enough, but it's kind of annoying to go over here because it's so far away from the other grounds. I had to travel through Coleraine to get here, but Coleraine weren't in this video because they weren't in the league. They play in the Southwest District now, but they used to play in the higher leagues like Casterton did back in the old days. So you got the club rooms there, but then there's another setup here, and this is a bit of a bar over here. Yep, there's the bar and another heater, I think, over there. Yep, TV. So I reckon this is where the old players would probably hang out to watch the game. And there's a Cavendish logo there. They wear the old Carlton monogram. They wear like the 90s, 2000s monogram for some reason, but of course not in navy, but in red. Okay, next up, Balmoral. It's getting pretty dark, but we have made it here in time. Balmoral, one pub town. Got the pub here. Anything interesting? Glenelg River, of course, the Glenelg Football League. So see Glenelg River. Now I still have to go to Harrow. We have been to Dergholm, went to Sandford. We're not going to Balmoral. That's not part of it, but yeah, we went to Cavendish. So back to Balmoral now. There's also Pigeon Ponds, which I probably won't make in this video because it's too dark, but I might come back and cover it. So hopefully you see it in the video. But pretty quiet here in Balmoral. They actually left the Glenelg League, but they did play in it. We'll go and have a look at the ground. Here's the Balmoral Footy Oval. They played in the first 3 seasons of the Glenelg Football League before going to the Central Wimmera. And today, well, they're part of Harrow Balmoral. They've just won 3 premierships in a row. If you've seen the Horsham District video, you would have seen that. So, yeah, I really like this ground. I haven't been to a game here. I've been to a game at Harrow, but not Balmoral. Obviously, they found a spot where it was pretty flat because the town is like down there. And then like you've got this area here, and up the back behind this is the school. So it's kind of like separate, and it's a little bit like that in some of these towns. You have sort of separate areas, but yeah, nice little oval because you've got a good hill to stand on and watch the game here. So that's always handy. Not a lot of sponsor signs, but you got Mix FM down there, 3WM, the Horsham radio station. So we're sort of getting in more Horsham areas here at Balmoral. Considering they play in the Horsham District, that makes sense. But Balmoral did actually play in the Southwest District prior to merging with Harrow, so they do have a bit of connection to like that area down south. So we're sort of in the in-between area here at Balmoral. There's not a whole lot of stuff in here, probably because it's new, and with the new facilities that get made, like they're not allowed to hang up a lot of memorabilia. At the Harrow ground, they've got so much, so Harrow sort of make up for Balmoral in terms of like history and whatnot. Yeah, you can see pretty plain in there. Whether there is history in another room, that's another thing. But yeah, Balmoral, they were actually the Bombers. Balmoral before merging with Harrow, now they're the Kangaroos. So Balmoral played in what became the West Wimmera Football League, and when that finished in 1981, they went down to the Southwest District, so they were going up and now they went south to a league. Yeah, they lasted until 96 in that league and actually won the 1991 premiership. So that was the last premiership the Balmoral Bombers won. And now, yeah, they became Harrow Balmoral and been the most successful team in the Horsham District since they've been formed. I'm going to say that Harrow maybe have a bit more influence in Harrow Balmoral than Balmoral does, but at least here you have a bit of a Hamilton influence and, you know, a bit closer to Hamilton. Maybe a few players from Hamilton sort of come out and play a little bit like that. All right, g'day. It's the next day now. I'm back here on the Sunday checking out the last two grounds of this video, but while I'm travelling, I've found this place, Chetwynd. I think that's how you say it. Here is the old hole. It's a really nice place. I know there was a bushfire down this road. There was maybe last year. All the trees were still growing back, but yeah, this is just near Edenhope, this place. But there was a footy club here a long time ago. Chetwynd played in the North Glenelg Football League in the 1920s. They lost in the grand final to Harrow in 1924. They won it in 1923 against Kenong Watong. So yeah, there's lots of hills around here. So where there was a footy ground, I'm not too sure. But yeah, you got a stage and stuff in there. See what I mean by it's very hilly around here. How cool is this setting? Got the cattle up on the hill there. Flora and fauna of West Wimmera. Things to do and see. I don't know why this is here, but it's kind of cool. I don't think many people are going to stop here, to be honest, but wow, yeah, West Wimmera is the Shire now around here. I think it was Cowrie way back in the day, so we're down here at Chetwynd. You can see Edenhope, Harrow, and they do have the Johnny Muller Centre. We'll go to Harrow, but yeah, they don't have obviously Pigeon Ponds aren't on here, so that's the next place I'm going to go to, Pigeon Ponds. Looks like this was an old tennis court. I mean, every sort of small community has a tennis court. This looks like one here next to the river. No lines on the court that I can see. Oh, there is some. Here we go. Tennis court line there. But yeah, very overgrown now. Don't even have like a net on the outside or anything like that, but there you go. All right, so the next club that played in the Glenelg Football League, Pigeon Ponds. And they played in the Glenelg Football League until it finished. Then heading down to the Portland Port Fairy or the Southwest District League until mid-1984 due to a lack of players and a poor run of form. They folded halfway through that season. So a little bit interesting because Harrow up the road, they went the other way, but we'll go there later. Here's the entrance gate to the ground. As you can see, not a whole lot of a town here. It's more of a farming area. Nothing too much in the old entrance here. There would have been a sign up there. You can't really read it now, but you would notice this ground is pretty nice because it is a current cricket ground. So Pigeon Ponds, funnily enough, effectively is the Harrow Balmoral Cricket Club, whilst Harrow and Balmoral football netball, they play in Harrow and Balmoral. So it's sort of halfway between those two towns in a way. So they still play cricket. I believe it's the Hamilton Association they play in, and the Close brothers play here. They're very good footballers. If you saw the Horsham District grand final video, they were once again premiers in the football. But Simon Close, he scored 300 for Pigeon Ponds in a game last summer. So they're just preparing it now. I don't know if they've started yet, but might be pretty soon. They did put in a new pitch last year. I came here for a video, the Hamilton video, so you may have already seen this ground. The old railing remains around the oval, and but there's no goalposts. I believe the goalposts were here. I think that's what someone told me. And then obviously down that end as well. And here's the cricket pitch. Yeah, it was just new when I came here last year, so looking pretty good. pretty nice little spot here, Pigeon Ponds. So in 1968, the final years of the Glenelg League, Harrow approached Pigeon Ponds for a merger, but it didn't happen. Maybe in hindsight it should have happened, but I guess Pigeon Ponds wanted to remain their own club, remain strong as their own community. And I believe when Pigeon Ponds were finishing up, they put the feelers out to Balmoral, but that was rejected. Now that would have made sense because Balmoral were playing in the Southwest League at the same time, so Harrow were playing up in the Horsham District by that stage, so it wouldn't have been a league change, but it didn't happen. So it's funny how that happened. I guess when Pigeon Ponds finished, the players dispersed between Harrow and Balmoral, so effectively they merged anyway, I guess. Up on the hill here we have what I believe is the timekeeper's box still remaining. I don't know if there's too much interesting inside when I've been here, but there's a few old bottles and cans and whatnot. This is the netball court, or basketball as it used to be back in the old days. It's actually built, they built the cricket nets on top of it, so you can just see where it once was underneath over here. I believe a lot of the senior players that currently play for Harrow, Balmoral in the footy, and they're very strong, they're from around this area, Pigeon Ponds area, so it's kind of ironic that they're not going anymore. So they would have had a strong team if they were still going. Pigeon Ponds is sort of the forgotten club in the merger of Harrow and Balmoral, and even at the Harrow club rooms they do have photos of Pigeon Ponds, so it's good they honour the history. So it's really another club that's merged, but just not officially. And I think this is where the canteen was, if I believe that's right. Don't know if we can see much, but nah, I think that was the canteen. And here's the cricket club room, so still used. I wonder how much it's changed since they finished playing footy here in the 80s, or even if they had the same setup when they were in the Glenelg Football League. What can we see inside? Not a whole hell of a lot. I believe they were in the Casterton Cricket League, and then now it's Hamilton, so I imagine a few people from Hamilton would see Pigeon Ponds on the fixture and wonder, where is it? Because it's not in town or nothing. Like, you've heard of Harrow and Balmoral, but you haven't heard of Pigeon Ponds until you come here. Here's downtown Pigeon Ponds. I should say it's not directly in between Harrow and Balmoral, but it's slightly closer to Harrow, but still, I'm sure people from Balmoral come out here to play cricket. That's what I'm going to guess anyway. But here's a memorial hole. Can't see much from this side. You can see it's just on the hill here from the oval. But there are some jerseys or jumpers in here. We'll have a look. There's premierships. Pigeon Ponds, can we make out a year? 1951. So that was the Central Glenelg Football League. Another one here, 52. Here we are. 100 game players from, so it did finish 84. So online it does say 83, but 84. You got the footy jumper there, so they were green with a red V. And the netball is quite similar. Now there is a Fitzroy jumper there. I didn't know why originally, but I have since found out why. So there was a lad that played out here at Pigeon Ponds by the name of Des Trotter. He was originally from Douglas Major Lake and sort of associated more with Edenhope. But for some reason he was interested in the president's daughter out here at Pigeon Ponds. So he came out here and kicked about 40 goals or something as a 15-year-old in the Glenelg Football League. And because he was playing out this way, he went over to Coleraine and played in their league, stronger league, and there was a Fitzroy scout there looking at some other players, but they saw this kid playing for Coleraine and invited him to Fitzroy. So he went and played reserves there, and I think some juniors, but I don't think he ever played. Definitely went there too young, so he's probably one of those guys that should have played VFL and didn't. But you know, the VFL is not like the AFL today. Like, there wasn't as much money in it and whatnot, so he was just a really good country footballer, and he ended up playing Warwick Nabil and East Gambia and kicking 100 goals at those clubs. It's funny how Pigeon Ponds joined that the Portland Port Fairy League, because they would have had to travel to places like Yambuck and Bessie Bell over near Portland. And I wouldn't have thought this area really like associates with Portland that much, more so like Hamilton and maybe Horsham. Alright, so I pulled up halfway between Harrow and Pigeon Ponds for an interesting reason. So there's the Wando Vale down here, where there's just a bit of a drop down the end of that road. And that was supposedly the agreement point for players who play for Pigeon Ponds down that way, or Harrow down this way. In the mid-60s, during the time of the Glenelg Football League, Harrow went on a 52-game run of losses. So they had to do something to get more players. So they agreed from everyone from this way on had to play for Harrow. So I guess some people from around this area were going down and playing at Pigeon Ponds, even though they were maybe a little bit closer to Harrow. Iron could have been possibly further on the map wherever they drew it, but around this area there was an agreement where down this way you had to play for Harrow. I don't know what's happening here. What's happening?
It's a Harrow Balmoral netball trip.
Harrow Balmoral netball trip!
Oh my god. Wow, okay. That's impressive. How long have you been going though?
Since Friday.
Oh my
Friday
god.
morning.
Okay, that's a lot. You need some rest, I reckon.
Are you coming to Harrow Rec Reserve?
Big night of the
Yeah, I am.
My dad's the president there.
Is he? Alright.
Yeah.
We'll have to, yeah, I'll do a video there right now.
That's where we're going.
Alright, okay.
Yeah, see you there.
Okay, we'll catch you there then. Alright. Alright, if you didn't catch that, I was just filming here and a bus tore past. They turned around and came back and it was the Harrow Balmoral girls on their trip, so they were pretty interesting. Okay, I made it to Harrow. Now I want to show you the original ground here. There's nothing too much to see, but I can tell you where it was. The town is over the other side there, on the other side of the Glenelg River, you guessed it. But the property here, Clooney, is where the original ground was. Is this at 1840, so they must have had the footy club over here. Now it was on a flat near the river, so I guess they, everything's hilly around here, so that was maybe one of the only flat pieces of ground around Harrow. And then you see up here is the Catholic church. I think it might still be used, and whether that's for the priest, that house, I don't know, but nothing really on this side. Like actual Harrow is over there. I reckon the ground from the 1950s would be like in there somewhere, and on maps there's nothing really to see, so yeah. Alright, here's the Harrow main street. They've got the pub there. There's the Johnny Muller Centre. If you're into cricket, it's definitely worth checking out. Don't have enough time in this video, but you got the Glenelg River down there. It's a very like old school town. Like here's like a really old school map. So you can't see any like Hermitage Hotel, which they still have. The girls are going to go there. There's nothing regarding football in here, but there's the Catholic church where we were up before, and then like the footy oval would have been there. But yeah, pretty cool this. I wonder why this area wasn't the original oval. Like it makes heaps more sense, whether this was like a swamp or something back in the old days, but this is the Johnny Muller oval here. So it's just for cricket. Now, I don't know heaps about Harrow cricket, whether the Harrow cricket team played here or not up where the footy oval is, I don't know. But of course, they don't have a team anymore. I think they might still do like a like an honorary game. Maybe I'll have to come if they still do that. But cricket pitch out in the middle here. You got campers over there. Like if you're like someone that goes around in caravans or whatever, it's like a really good spot, I reckon, Harrow, to come and pull up your caravan, because like pretty chill place, but like they've got lots of things to see, museums and whatnot. The Johnny Muller Centre, which is pretty good memorabilia in there. But yeah, old cricket pitch here, based near the Glenelg River. If you haven't heard of Johnny Muller, he was the captain of Australia's first ever international cricket team when Tom Wills, the inventor of Australian rules football, he got these blokes to go over to England and play cricket. These Indigenous players that went over. A lot of them were from around the this area, like Western District. But yeah, so that's why it's definitely worth checking out the Johnny Muller Centre. They'll do a way better job than what I can say. Here's a plaque about it. It was 1868. Australia's first 11 went over to England and played cricket. I have to thank David Hobbs for giving me all the information on Harrow. He's the guru around here. He's literally writing a book on the history of footy. So Apparently this ground did have like a pre-season game against Hatherleigh, like a mid-southeast club over in South Australia. So some stage in the 90s, apparently there was a footy game here, which is pretty cool. As you come over the bridge into Harrow, they have this, which looks really new. Harrow District and Memorabilia. So in here is actually some football stuff, which is what we're looking for, because there is heaps of like historical things in Harrow, but necessarily I'm looking for football. And here's some jumpers of Harrow. So you notice they've got a few different colours there. Give you the rundown. Harrow were the Tigers in the Central Glenelg Football League. Now you might remember from the start, Dergholm were the Tigers. So when the Glenelg Football League was formed, they changed to a magpie design, or a Collingwood design. And that's what they wore. Then what are these other colours? Well, Douglas Harrow Major Lake were the Demons. Douglas Major Lake there. Douglas Major Lake Rovers wore this one. The Bulldogs design, and there's Douglas Major Lake. Anyway, so Douglas Major Lake merged with Harrow eventually, but we're focusing on Harrow today in this video. There's actually the Harrow Football Club bell. You know, they didn't have sirens back in the day, they just rang a bell. And then there's all this other historical stuff in here, which I'm sure people find interesting. All right, here's the Harrow Oval. Now, this was built in the early 1950s, and stringy bark scrub was removed. And it provided a nice flat surface up high above the Glenelg River. I assume they had a lot of problems if there was a lot of rain with the old oval. Up here, not so bad. You've got the golf course out the back here as well. So it's not really in the town, but it's in a better location. They actually had the 1954 Central Glenelg Football League held, grand final held here when it was a new oval. So that would have been a big day for everyone at Harrow. But you got club rooms here, fairly, not the biggest ones I'm going to say, but there's so much history jam-packed in there. Old club rooms, old change rooms, sorry. The newer ones further down here, and then the netball was all really new. Stadium seating here, I'll be corrected, but I'm going to guess it's like from Cardinia Park or somewhere like that. I know that they did have light towers from Cardinia Park. I'm not sure if they're still the same ones. The lighting here is really good. Like Harrow, there's no fluke that they win premierships. Like they're a very, very well-run club. And that's why they've won the last 3 in a row in the Horsham District. They've been the Kangaroos since merging with Balmoral in 1997 and playing the Horsham District League. The Lions jumper here for Michael Close. He's from here and currently plays for Harrow Balmoral, one of their stars. Also a Eagles jumper here for Tim Houlihan. So Harrow in the Glenelg Football League obviously didn't do so well. We're losing a lot of games there, but they approached Pigeon Ponds for a merger. That was rejected. So what did they have to do when the league was going to finish? Well, they could go down to the Portland Port Ferry and there was only one grade of football, or they can merge with Douglas Major Lake up the road, which isn't that far away. They play at Wambalano. So they decided to merge with them, and it was really good for the club as a whole because they would have seniors, reserves and under 16s, and not just one grade of football. And they went and played in the newly formed Central Wimmera Lowen Star. So that league was a lot stronger than what the Portland Port Ferry probably was. And, well, not a lot stronger, but maybe a little bit stronger considering they had more grades to work with. So that was the Demons jumper you saw in Harrow. And that's what they wore until that league finished in the early 80s. And then they wore the Catch jumper before merging with Balmoral to be the Harrow Balmoral Southern Roos like they are today. Look at all these trophies. They've been the most successful club in the Horsham District since they were formed in 1997. And the netballs tend to be pretty good as well. Here's a Douglas Major Lake Premiership from the West Wimmera Football League. So that's what the Central Lowen Star became. In their final years, it became the West Wimmera. And they would split games between here and Wambalano until the early 90s. I find it really funny that Harrow weren't very strong in the Glenelg Football League, considering how well run they are now. The old change rooms in here, you got visitors, probably umpires in there, and then Harrow Balmoral here. I have been to a game here. It's such a cool vibe. Up here is actually the timekeeper's box. Siren there. Should be game times maybe. Blank pieces of paper, right? Okay. Nothing to see on there. Netball exchange rooms are in here, which is kind of weird because usually it's not like on the footy oval, the netball change rooms, or quite often they're not. But it's funny to come here in daylight because I often use this as a stopping point when I come back from my footy trips. You know, coming from like Hamilton sort of way, come this way. But yeah, there's usually kangaroos on the oval, so their nickname is pretty apt. The club rooms put here in 2019, unisex of course. That's the way things are nowadays. That's the way people get money to upgrade things, by making them unisex. Like you just take the screw out and change it to the other sex, so that's kind of funny. Both are pretty old here, but they do have nice nets behind them, which is good. The playground here is in green, like different shades of green, which is kind of weird. It's not club colours. Maybe they're the colours of like the council or whatever. Ball courts here, upgraded in, well, tennis as well, upgraded in 2019 as well. So pre the lockdowns they had in Victoria. Really cool. Actually very nice setup. And this sort of is in club colours, which is good as well. And kind of reminds me of the one at Francis. They got buddies, junior and senior netball buddies for Harrow Balmoral. The roos. Yeah, this is really nice. And they can actually make them male change rooms, I guess, for tennis. Like they're not really going to male netball out here anytime soon. Now in this video I have missed a couple clubs. I included Balmoral just because I went through there, but there was Conongwatong as well. They folded halfway through the league, and also Merino Digby, and they changed leagues. So I have done videos on them, so if you want to search them up, you can check out those videos. The ground at Merino is actually really cool, so I have to show you another time. Scoreboard here, I can't remember if they have a portable scoreboard or not, but anyway, we'll see what's in there. It's the old school painted numbers. Nothing wrong with them. Sometimes they're better than the electronic ones if you see the Wimmera Grand Final video, but pretty cool. That a lot of clubs that have they play at 2 grounds, obviously they still play at Balmoral as well. They'll have like an electronic scoreboard on a trailer, so they can make use of it at both grounds. You can see how old the goalposts are here. Like they're not short though, which is good, but they're just missing paint, which I don't know. Sometimes it's cool to have like these old posts though. I did notice the net is like kind of far back, so if you're having a kick here, it's like not really the best, but it does stop the ball going into the netball, which is probably the most important thing. That's probably why it's so far back, so just to eradicate any footies going on the netball court. Not sure if there's a cricket pitch underneath here. Probably not. I guess they'll just play at Pigeon Ponds anyway. You can see the minibus the girls that were on the netball trip were on. I went to town and then they must have, I saw them go into town and they've all dispersed and are running amok in Harrow now. Love seeing retro signs at ovals. We've got the Ace radio here, 981, which is 3HA, which is Hamilton, not the and funny because like Balmoral was closer to Hamilton and they had a Horsham radio sign there, and you got Harrow, which is closer to Horsham, and they've got a Hamilton radio sign there. Well, that's about it at the old Harrow Magpies footy ground. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, checking out all the Glenelg Footy League grounds, and if you want to see more, leave a comment. Cheers, see ya.